All right, so we're back on this inlet manifold. I wanted to show you a couple things. Here's the inlet manifold. It fits in like this, okay? And it actually looks pretty square overall. So how this fits on there is once you stick this manifold in between your two cylinders, you would roll this big O-ring over to this side, as you can see, and then you roll this O-ring over, and you probably need 4 hands. Roll this O-ring over, and I'm not going to be able to do this because it will just give you an idea. So anyhow, it'll probably fall in, but that would roll in like that. Okay, and this one, as you can see, dropped out. So it does take some practice and some time, but you get my point. We roll these O-rings over, and then once they're on there evenly and not falling through the crack and stuff like that, that's obviously not right. You take these bands, and these bands would go around this section, and you would compress this O-ring onto the lip of the inlet of the casted cylinder and against this portion of the inlet manifold, and that's what would make your seal. So we know, you saw with the bubbles, that that wasn't going down. So I assumed, hey, we're going to need to get some O-rings. Let me get this back on. Get this back out. We're going to need to get some O-rings and so on and so forth, and probably some new clamps, and go from there. Well, there we go. As I started, so here's your O-rings. Pretty good size O-rings. So the reason it was leaking, kind of twofold, is one of the O-rings, I believe, is split. There it is. One of the O-rings was split. I don't know if you can see that. And we have, looks like somebody, has had a heyday with the inlet nipple. I'll take this off. Maybe we'll get a little bit of light so you can see. And I don't know, it's made out of cast. That portion, I don't know if that portion is actually aluminum. It looks like it's probably not. It's a good question. I don't know. If somebody knows, please let me know. But you can see what we got going on. We got a little bit of oompha happening there and there. So, what to do, right? Obviously, I can get a file and I can take off this raspy edge and try to clean it up the best I can, but we've lost that piece. So I will, I'll clean this up on the inside and the outside. I'll put a little something in here so I don't get any metal shavings or anything, inside the engine. And I found I forget what the brand name was, but it had great reviews, and if anyone out there has ever used it or can line me out, I'd greatly appreciate it. It's actually a neoprene, I think it's neoprene, it's some type of a high temperature, softer plastic tube that's about that, maybe about this wide, and it sticks on this side. It actually goes up against the outside of this piece. Give me a second here. Goes up against this here, this piece, in this piece, and then as I put the the manifold in, it's going to come over and it'll run from here to here, and they have 4 very thin stainless steel bands that go on here, and 1 band will go on here, 1 band will go on here, a 3rd and a 4th band. Really good reviews. Now, I don't know, I've never used it, I've never tried it. Looks like it might be easier to do that than buy O-rings and hope that I get a seal out of here. I'm not sure I can get a seal out of that. Maybe someone can tell me. I'd sure enjoy all the comments and support you can give me. And we're going to give that a try. You do have to support the carburetor, which I already have a support bracket because you don't want your manifold hanging off of 2 pieces of rubber. We want to keep it level, etc. So we're going to give that a try. So this is going to be, now let's go from finding bubbles to getting it solid. And while I wait for that part to come in and do maybe a little bit more research before I go any farther, I'll probably start to take the push rods out, and I'm going to take the tappets out and check the bearings on those and put in new gaskets and things like that. So at least I know that that's not going to come undone. So more to come on that. So as you can see, I have the push rod tubes are all raised up. The majority of them are. The inlet valve push rod, you can see me spin it, is loose, which means the lobe of the cam is down. Same with this one here. I have both of these inlet valves closed when I check the pressure. When I pressurize this with the 10-12 pounds to check for leaks. So what I'm going to do is start to take the push rod tubes out and the push rods out. So what you do is they have to be 7/16. You can see on the upper part of the push rod we have 2 flats that the 7/16 open-end wrench will fit on, and then I will take another wrench and I will go ahead and start to back off this nut. And the bottom nut is the nut, it's a lock nut. You come up against the bottom of your upper push rod, and that's what keeps it from expanding. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I go the right direction first of all, and as I loosen this up, then I can go ahead and screw this lock nut all the way down. You can see I've taken it from here to there. I'm going to continue to bring that down. And now my fingers are all greasy. See, I'm getting it down. And I'm going to go ahead kind of at a little bit of a crazy angle. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll start to screw this stud that is going up into the push rod. I'll start to take that and close that up. I got a little bit of left hand action going here, and I'm not doing real well. Let me see if I can take that and screw that up. This is going to be a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Don't want to burn up your time. I'm hoping I can get it loose enough to where I can start to screw it up. Okay, we're making some headway now. Okay, so let me show you what we have. So we've screwed that up to where I can take it out of the tappet here. Okay, see if my camera's set up. And then I can angle it a little bit, and I can pull the push rod right out. And I'm going to get to maybe set this camera up a little bit. Let me see something here. Sorry guys. There you go. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, now that I've pushed that in, I'm going to take it out of the tappet, and I'm going to pull that whole set out. Okay, so here is my top cork gasket that keeps oil from coming out there, and we'll take these tubes apart when we clean them out and show you. But right there is my right there's my push rod. Okay, so you can see the top is what rides against the rocker arms, and this is how we adjust it up against the tappet. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the other three off, and when I took this off, notice on this one here, I think you can still see it, it's still loose. So what you don't want to do is start to loosen these up when it's under spring tension. So before you take one out, get them to where you can move them hand with your fingers like this. Then you're good to collapse them, take them out, etc. I am going to keep all of these rods together and keep them in an order to where I know which rod goes where. If I'm not mistaken, and we'll be able to tell, I think this is the long one. I don't think that they're all, they might be all the same size, but one of them is longer, and I can't remember which one it is. We'll take a look, I'll let you know. But we're going to take those out. What I want to go for is I'm going to take these lower push rod. I'm not even sure what the correct terminology of this is. I'll let you know that in just a second. But I want to take those off because I want to take the tappets out. And look at that. There's one part of it. But I want to see the bottom of it to see the roller bearings, to make sure the bearings are all good. And hopefully they are. So we'll be back just a little bit here. All right, I have all of the push rods and the push rod tubes removed. So what you're seeing is, and by the way, these are tappet guides that I didn't know the name of, but they are tappet guides, and these are your hydraulic push rods. They're full of oil. They're hydraulically. They run hydraulically. So those actually set down in your tappets with the roller. And what I want to do, and I can't pull the roller out this direction, which means I have to take these 4 bolts out, take this tappet guide off, and then I can pull the rollers out of the bottom. And what I want to check is I want to make sure that the rollers are good. I've never been in this engine. Just want to make sure we're good. When I put it back together, I want to be able to ride it for a period of time. I'm not getting deep into the engine. It's about as deep as I'm going to go. And we'll do another video on taking these off and how to check the tappet and the rollers. So we'll catch you on the next video.